It is a great privilege of mine to be able to welcome the host of tonight's discussion about heart health, Nanda Sringari. To give you guys a little bit of background, Nanda is a engineer who is turned into a wellness coach and biohacker. He is very passionate about educating and empowering others to optimize their health. So I'm going to pass it over to Nanda Sringari to get this webinar started. Take it over, Nanda.
Thank you, John. Good evening, folks. How are you all doing? I'm Nanda Sringari. I'm joining from Naples, Florida. They call it the Paradise Coast here. Hope you're all doing great. And it's really an honor and a privilege to be speaking to this amazing audience. And I'm going to set things up and bring up our keynote speaker today, Dr. Shobit Madan. We also have my partner here, Saurabh Desai, joining from California, and he's also a wellness coach, and he'll be sharing some success stories with you. But before I get into the presentation, I want to share some disclosures and disclaimers. So I'm going to start the presentation, and it's going to be a fun seminar. Before you even hide behind a presentation, I just want to have all of you put your right hand on your heart, or if you're lefty, whatever, but put your hand on your heart and say thank you. Because it's going to beat for you with your permission. It's going to keep on going on until your last breath. So we all have to thank our heart. And with that, I'm going to start this presentation. And it's going to be fun, educational. And I don't think it'll be surprising for many of you. You will have some aha moments because the one that we have learned preparing this presentation is that there are a lot of things that people may be aware of. And some things you may not be aware of. We live in a ChatGPT world today. Knowledge is overrated. So what our goal is really is to condense and collate and boil it down to things that you can digest and apply in your life. So before a deep dive, I just want to have some disclosure and disclaimers. We are a health and wellness community. We educate and empower people to live healthier and happy lives. We believe in preventing, predicting, and even reversing diseases. We believe that our DNA is not our destiny. We also believe in a Hippocrates quote several thousand years ago that let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Unfortunately, 90% of us have nutritional deficiencies. We are overfed and undernourished. So we affiliated and partnered with the #1 nutritional supplement company in the world called Nutrilite. And our primary objective today is to provide you with knowledge and insights that can genuinely improve not only your heart health, but overall health. And I have to have a disclaimer here because this seminar is for educational purposes only. This is not to provide you medical advice or attempt to diagnose or treat any medical condition. If you currently have heart disease or have been prescribed medication for associated conditions, please don't stop anything. Please consult your doctor, your physician who's helping you, and don't make any changes after this seminar without consultation. So let's prioritize our health together. Now let's get started with today's seminar. My goal is really to give you some objectives here so there's a clear picture of what we're going to achieve here today. One is really talk about the state of poor health a lot of people are in, and they're not even aware of it. And that's where I was a few years ago. And how do you predict, prevent, and reverse heart disease? And we also want to share a success story by Saurabh Desai. And I'm going to wrap everything up by showing you how you can take charge of your health. As a professional, we all work so hard to earn income, succeed professionally. So there's a quote that really made an impact on me. Man sacrifices his health in order to make money. Then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. That's where I was a few years ago in 2017. That's a picture from 2014. My dad there, I thought he was doing great because I didn't see any obvious signs that I recognized, but I was overweight, I had visceral fat, and I didn't have any obvious signs that I recognized. So all I talked to my dad about was if he was visiting his doctor, taking his medication. And I didn't know what the red flags were. But I got this devastating news in 2017 that he died of a heart attack. But I knew that he was taking diabetes medication, that he was taking blood pressure medication, but I didn't connect the dots. And all I would talk to him about was if he was taking medications, he was seeing his physician. But today I want to show you how you need to get educated about heart disease. If there are people in your family, or even maybe you already have developed heart disease, how to recognize it so that you can prevent it and reverse it and not, think that, that's your fate. Well, only 12% of the people in America are healthy. Can you believe that? Metabolically healthy. If you're over 40 attending this seminar, only 10% of you, 1/10 of you, are healthy. Think about that. 6 in 10 adults in the US have a chronic disease. Chronic disease is something that you have a condition for over a year or so, and you're taking medication, and most physicians will help you manage it, but they're not going to talk to you about reversing it. They're fatalistic about chronic diseases, and 4 in 10 adults have 2 or more. And they say that 40% or more people are on some sort of medication. $3.5 trillion is spent, on treating diseases. COVID kind of woke a lot of people up, correct? Because it was scary, and it was in the news cycle all the time. And, almost 2,500 people died every single day. But do you know that today there are about 2,400 people die of heart disease every single day? We don't hear about COVID anymore. But think about the deaths caused by other diseases. These are average deaths per day. I call these diseases as silent killers. COVID made a lot of noise. Some people got vaccinated. Some people, started their health journey. But, we have a lot of other diseases that kill people every day. So we're going to throw light on one of them today. But, they're all related in how you can prevent them. I believe that there are 5 bullets heading our way, and it's our goal to dodge them. And that's how serious it is. Obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and Alzheimer's. I'm in Florida. Cancer and Alzheimer's is a big issue here for senior citizens and older folks. But I'll tell you that a lot of other things are also a young man's disease. My hairdresser was telling me that she works in a kidney unit, and there are people there as young as 32 years old getting dialysis done. So think about that. So none of these diseases are old people's disease anymore. There is a certain influence of affluence. It took us 2.5 million years to evolve, but last 50 years have destroyed our health. And think about that. Now, there are some dots that will connect here, but think about that picture. It's very amusing, but it's true. So heart disease did not exist, in the 19th century, but it all started happening in the 1930s. And there's a connection here, because that's when really seed oils, processed foods started getting introduced in America. Think about that. Now, this only talks about 2010, but if you look at any data, it'll tell you that heart disease is increasing. Now, sickness is a business model. Health insurance companies won't pay a doctor very much to tell a patient to change the way he or she eats or to monitor his blood glucose levels in order to prevent him or her from developing type 2 diabetes. But yet, insurance will pay them, same patient, very expensive insulin after he or she has been diagnosed. Think about that. So we live in a system that doesn't really encourage prevention. And how about, look at this, in treatment business model, healthcare administration, chronic disease management, they call it, 97% of attention is given to treatment, only 3% to prevention. Goldman Sachs, asked in, Biotech's, report, is curing patients a sustainable business model. Think about that, okay? That's what the medical system, the healthcare system think about. What's common between USA and New Zealand, you ask? They're the only two countries that allow pharma advertising. Think about on TV. So think about that. So we're victims of marketing. We know drugs that's going to help us, but we don't know how we can take care of our diseases. But you know what? If nothing moves you to take charge of your health, I hope this does. Because 4 in 10 Americans in poor health struggle to afford their prescription drugs. And almost 650,000 people declare bankruptcy every single year in America. Think about that. But how did we get here? You know how you cook a frog? You cook it, put it in lukewarm water and boil. If you throw a frog in hot water, it senses danger and jumps out. But how did I, in my own personal journey, I want to share that with you. First is ignorance. I didn't know anything about biology. I didn't know about human biology. I just ate what I wanted. I just quenched my thirst. I satisfied my hunger and went about living my life. Second thing is I didn't feel like exercising. I didn't feel like doing a lot of things. I didn't care about it. Too much information. If you Google how to be healthy or how to lose weight, there's a million responses that you're going to get. Too much information. Too busy for health. Stressed out. That's literally the standard American diet. The acronym is SAD. That's pretty sad, isn't it? And you know what? We don't know what's in our, what ingredients are in the food-like substances that we are consuming. They say there are 65,000 items, products in a grocery store today, and very few of them are food that your great-grandmother would recognize. Think about that. The oranges you eat today don't have the same nutritional content maybe 30 years ago, the oranges that had, that you would buy 30 years ago. Why is that? Because the soil quality has gone down. Fruits and vegetables get their mineral content from the soil. The soil, nutrient value has gone down. You're not getting enough of the nutrients that you would get in a serving of fruits and vegetables today. On-demand food. We were excited about on-demand TV, but now we got on-demand food. You can get healthy at the snap of your finger, unhealthy at the snap of your finger. No disrespect to doctors. We need the medical care system for trauma and acute conditions. But unfortunately, doctors don't know anything about nutrition because they only get about 20 hours of nutrition instruction during their medical careers. Think about that. That may be an aha moment for you. It was for me. Look at all the labels that we read. Most people don't even know how to read a nutrition label. That's where you should start. And they're all in bed with each other, the pharma, the doctors. I'm not saying intentionally, but that's how the system works, okay? Right? And air pollution, water contamination, and that's how we got cooked. And I gained about 50 pounds over a bunch of years, of course, and became unhealthy, not paying attention to these things. Today, I want to talk to you about health span, not just lifespan. If you ask somebody, how long do you want to live? They're going to give you a number, maybe. They have a number, but something like, I want to live a long life. I want you to think about health span. You know what health span is? The duration of time you did not have any diseases. But unfortunately, diseases have started popping now in 20s. Imagine if somebody got sick in their 40s and they lived to the 80, they lived 40 years in disease and disability. It costs a lot of money, grief, and you become dependent. Think about it, and reduces the quality of life. So think about health span, not lifespan. So at this point, I want to bring up a great friend whom I've known for more than 10 years. And he is the right person to talk about heart health because he personally went on a journey of transformation. And I have to read this background because I know that many of you might be curious, what's his background? Why should you listen to him? Dr. Shobit Madan is a seasoned physician and research scientist in cardiology and public health. Brings a wealth of expertise to our seminar tonight. Originally from New Delhi, India, he now resides in Greater Orlando with his family. Dr. Shobit's passion for promoting holistic health stems from his personal journey, overcoming diabetes and losing 40 pounds. Currently, he's involved in developing medical devices at a global biotech company. Tonight, he'll share insights on heart health, addressing the why, how, and what, and also help us lead healthier lives. So help me welcome Dr. Shobit Madan.
Thank you, Nanda. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shobit, and I reside with my wife Neetu and our little 2-year-old son Jashan in Greater Orlando area. So I have 20 years experience in clinical medicine, and now I conduct clinical trials, as Nanda mentioned, for a global biotech company. And my focus tonight is really to share with you from my heart, and from 20 years, you can multiply that by 365 days. That's the amount of experience I've gained after reading 300 books in medicine and published over 50 papers in top cardiac journals in the world. And that's the experience I'm sharing with you. I'm going to talk to you not about the treatment, but about prevention of heart disease. And this is something that you have a control. You don't have to go through medical school. You don't have to go through public health. You don't have to go through all of the experience. But what you do can take home after this webinar tonight is the information that is being shared here and apply. I said the word apply that information in your life and share that to as many people as you can who are your loved ones. So that's where I'm going to share with you a little bit about my personal journey. When myself, Nanda, and a few of the speakers on the, and a few of the partners of mine, including Rajiv, and we started a mission called the Wellness Moonshot Mission. And our focus was to impact 5 million lives in the next 10 years. And this was just a couple of years ago. And that is a time when I made a decision that I'm going to, first of all, myself, become healthy and fit. And this picture on the left is from 2022. I was visiting with my family, in Dominican Republic. And these were my numbers. My weight, 242 pounds, BMI 31. I was already, metabolically having metabolic syndrome. Waist, as you see, and my neck, I was having sleep apnea. A1C was actually over 11, brought it down to 8, and then to 4.8, and in 2023. As you see, the triglyceride to HDL ratio, that's one of the important things that you can easily measure by your, from the reports that you get annually, every 6 months from your PCP visits. I was on diabetes medications, hypertensive, and all because of 2 reasons. One was genetics. I couldn't control that, but I could control the environment and a lot of other things. But first of all, it was my decision in my mind. So I started my personal journey. And if you see here, the cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in the world. It is more prevalent than cancer, all of the chronic diseases that Nanda mentioned earlier combined. It kills approximately 18.6 million people every year, right? And which accounts to 1/3 of the global deaths across the board. And 75% of cardiovascular deaths take place in low to middle income countries. But you know what interesting part is? These are all, half of them are preventable. A lot of people do not realize that this is a preventable condition. So I want to share with you a little bit about cardiovascular disease or heart disease, how and what can be affected. So I'll just briefly touch upon this. You don't have to go into all the details. Human heart has got 4 chambers, and the heart, there are some of the terms you might have heard, like heart failure, when heart becomes very big and large, and you're not able to breathe properly. Heart muscle starts failing. It becomes like a overstretched balloon of water. Inflammation of the heart muscle is called pericarditis. Cardiomyopathy, disease of the heart muscle. Arrhythmias, when the electrical impulses are abnormal. Aneurysm, when the heart, the vessel wall becomes dilated and it starts expanding, and it can rupture and can cause sudden death in many people. Valve disease, and so over the next slide, a lot of these diseases actually are preventable. Now, I want you to get to know, have you know a little bit about heart. Our heart is pretty much like a house. So it has walls, rooms, doors, plumbing, and an electrical system. All the parts of your heart work together in synchrony to keep the blood flowing and send nutrients all across the body, which is the macronutrients, which we call the protein, the micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients to your other organs. And did you know, I'm going to share with you some facts now about this thing. If you see here, the cardiac arrest, which is basically an electrical issue. It's like a power outage when the heart stops beating. Just like your internet goes down and you have to call your boss, hey, I can't work today because my internet is down. But if the heart electrical impulse stops, you're done for life. So that's the only opportunity. So the information we are sharing here tonight is multi-billion-dollar information. So if you take this home, a lot of things can be prevented. Heart attack is a plumbing issue. And this is like a clogged pipe. Blood flow is blocked to the heart. Next time you call a plumber at home, you have to think mentally, hey, something might be going in my heart pipes also, and I can prevent that. So over to the next slide. Yeah. So heart attack, what happens is, so heart muscle is supplying blood to the entire body, but heart muscle itself needs blood supply. And that blood supply is supplied by vessels specific to the heart muscle. They are called coronary arteries. And what happens is, there are three reasons I would say, which leads to building up of the plaque, which lead to eventually the clot. First is your genetics. If you have bad genes, you have got premature heart disease. Like my dad, he developed cardiovascular disease in his 40s, which showed up as, he didn't have a heart attack, thank God, we prevented it. 3 of his heart vessels were blocked beyond 90%. And that's why he was only 52. And he's now 78, but now he does have, vascular dementia. But that time he was, and he had his profession, as an attorney, then he became a judge, also very aggressive profession. So genetics was one. Second thing which can happen in somebody, which can be preventable, is smoking, right? Then third thing, which causes the heart attack, is our lifestyle, the food that we eat, So all of these things affect and cause the coronary artery. And when it blocks, it can cause a heart attack. Next slide. So every 40 seconds, someone in the US has a heart attack. Now that's alarming. And almost half of sudden cardiac deaths occur outside of the hospital, in somebody's home, or you're in office, or you could be working and you may not realize that what's going on. And the symptoms of the difference between signs and symptoms: signs is something that the doctor sees in you, but you don't know. Symptoms of something that you can explain, like chest pain, shortness of breath, when you're feeling dizzy, some palpitations. Palpitations are basically, abnormal heart rhythm, and or silent heart attack. A lot of people they die in the sleep, right? So they can have silent heart attacks. So it's a lot of things can happen, but there are a lot of things that are preventable here. Now, I want to talk to you about the problem here, which is called the metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome comprises of 3 things, here: obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The triple burden of disease. That's what we have to combat. And metabolic syndrome is basically, 1/3 of Americans and 40% of global population today is suffering from metabolic syndrome. Okay. And if you see the person on the left, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, high triglycerides, excessive fat around the waist, that's, something obviously somebody has metabolic syndrome. But if you see the person on the right is lean, thin, slim, he is not overweight, he's not obese, but he has what? High blood sugar, okay, high triglycerides, and low HDL, which is the good cholesterol. So you could be having a normal BMI, normal weight, but having heart disease. And that is called as metabolic obesity. So for which you must realize there are certain people, even at the healthy weight, can have, and I want to touch upon a few more things here. The definition of metabolic syndrome is based on the cluster of metabolic risk factors, which is like we talked about all these things. But another area is waist circumference, more than 90 centimeter or 35.4 inches in men, or 80 centimeter or more than 31.4 inches in women. So this is a serious condition. And when you visit to doctor, you can also go and research online about metabolic syndrome. And this is preventable though. You can prevent a lot of the outcomes of metabolic syndrome. Next slide. So what are the obvious signs you can see? Skin tags. Okay, this is an important picture. Skin tags should not be confused for something that is genetic. It is because a symptom of brewing heart disease and metabolic syndrome. You can see skin pigmentation in the neck area or armpits or many other areas, pigmentation that cannot go away just by a cosmetic treatment, by a skincare. That means there's something growing inside the body. That is obviously visceral fat. If you have a belly, like I said, like the in the previous slide, that there are the waist circumference is very critical, 35.4 inches and beyond, and visceral fat is something that you can actually burn with preventive therapy, prevention, and that we can talk about here a little bit more. So these are certain important things. Like I said, why me? I was suffering from metabolic syndrome and I've reversed it completely, right? And I showed in my previous slide that I'm free from all meds, all of the things. My energy is super high because I've got rid of metabolic syndrome, and because I fight every single day because of increasing working against my genes. I was genetically predisposed. I am genetically predisposed for early heart disease. I was also getting environmental insults because of urbanization toxins, exposure to smoke, exposure to indoor pollutants. During COVID, people started working more from home. So we were more exposed to indoor pollution, right? Then poor lifestyle, more people sitting and working. When I work, I stand at least 6 to 8 hours a day and work. So that's also, I burned a lot of my visceral fat. What you can change, you can't change your age, but what you can, you cannot change both the gender, your ethnicity, right? Your genes, you can't change that, but you can modulate the gene behavior. So the trigger factor for these genes, which are abnormal in your body that you're born with, and you can't do anything about it, but you can always change their behavior, how they express into formation of a protein. So sometimes an abnormal protein is formed, which causes cancer and heart disease, but that is preventable. How? By important markers that I just talked about. One is bringing your blood pressure in the normal range, right? My baseline blood pressure used to go 40/90. Now it's 110/70. So monitoring your blood pressure. What are the factors that affect the blood pressure, right? Salt is another important example. Sodium intake, it should be less than 4% in anything that you eat, right? Resting heart rate, that's very important. And all of this information you can get from your smartwatch or from your iPhone. We all have smartphones. Bad cholesterol, right? So what is the bad cholesterol? Recommended bad cholesterol is less than 3. A BMI. Now, BMI is only a subjective marker, right? Like I said, metabolic obesity, if your BMI is normal, you can still have that. So remember that. If you are lean and thin, doesn't mean that you may not have heart disease. You might have, but you do not know. Waist measurement, it's like we already talked about. And exercising, which is basically a walk around your neighborhood for 30 minutes, 5 times a week, right? Consistently, every single day can really prevent inflammation and prevent the outcomes of the bad genes. So you can start working in improving your outcomes. Now let's talk about the 5 pillars of optimal health. And what is optimal health? Optimal health is not merely the absence of disease. It is basically you are healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, nutritionally, right? And these are the important pillars. Nutrition is very critical. If you go to today a restaurant and you are looking at the menu, right? Even in a kid's menu, they will talk about grilled cheese sandwich, fried chicken, all of these different things. They're not healthy. You're basically triggering those genes that will work against you to cause heart disease prematurely. Nutrition is one. Second thing is exercise. Now, exercise we talk about, there are many ways of exercising, right? There's not just one particular way that you exercise. Yoga can be exercise. And exercise is basically working against resistance, right? And when you do work against resistance, you are basically pumping blood through the body and you're allowing the heart muscle to work healthy and your muscles to be healthy. Sleep, recommended is 7 to 8 hours of sound sleep every single day, right? 7 hours, at the least 7 hours in which you have at least 3 to 4 REM sleeps. You can learn more about, you can go to Google and learn about what is REM sleep, at least 3 cycles of REM sleep in a 7-hour sleep. Stress management, by being in a part of a community. We all get inspired by other people who are doing something that is keeping them healthy. So surrounding yourself, and you have an opportunity with joining our wellness community, where we encourage people to be part of our wellness community. And this is a very critical part which doctors across the world do not understand the value. I would not say all. Now, there are a lot of doctors educated about nutrition and supplementation. And as I said, heart muscle is like a house. It has to work and in 2 areas, physically, which is mechanically, and electrically. So supplementation is allowing your heart to work in its best capacity, physically and electrically. So that is very critical. So the price that you will pay for poor nutrition, what is the cost of a heart transplant today? If somebody has only 6 months to live and they want to be on a transplant list, first of all, they have to qualify for a heart transplant. And if even if they qualify for heart transplant, they have to come up with $1.7 million for a heart transplant. And in my experience, I have seen 50,000 patients of heart disease in my life, right? Over 20,000 adults and 30,000 children. I worked in adult cardiology and pediatric cardiology. And children who are born with heart defects, anatomically, you can fix them surgically. But 20,000 patients that I saw in my lifetime, out of which 50% were preventable and 50% were not. But those preventable, we could prevent. So poor nutrition is one of the aggravating factors for heart disease. We talked. It can affect many areas, including fragile bones, obesity, high sugar levels, neurodegenerative diseases like dementia, and respiratory problems can be prevented. So this is an example of an unhealthy cell on the left. Our body has got 30 trillion cells, and each cell, works as a micro in its microenvironment. It needs all the energy to make sure that the attack to the cell is prevented through the strength of the cell membrane, the outer coating of the cell. And if cell membrane is damaged, what happens is oxidation happens, and it can cause the buildup of plaque, which we saw in the earlier slide, which can cause blockage. What is free radicals? Free radicals are basically, oxidative cells that cause damage to the internal organs, including blood vessels. So as an example on your left, when you see that apple, this green apple, looks nice. When you basically cut it and put it on on a countertop somewhere, it will turn brown. Why? Because of oxygen. Oxygen causes free radical, and that's what happens in our body. when our cells, body cells, are exposed to pollutants, and we are always getting oxidative attacks in the body. How can we prevent? By taking antioxidants, which is beta carotene here, vitamin E, selenium, example, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin C. So this can prevent and also increase your health span, as Nanda talked about in the previous slide. Now, all across the world, I would not just limit this to Americans, but in this case, 90% of plus Americans do not get recommended 10 servings of fruits and veggies. I can't eat 10 servings of fruits and veggies every day with a busy lifestyle. So, which is why I need supplementation. And if you see in this slide here, if you the plate on the left looks very nutritious and healthy, right? But are we getting all of that serving? So the body actually is requiring what body needs and what we eat. There is a gap between that. So if you go tomorrow to Chipotle and order a salad bowl or a burrito bowl, and that basically will cost you maybe $10 and whatever. But will that give you 5 and 10 servings of fruits and vegetables? Forget about fruits and vegetables. That is just beans, rice, and chicken and sour cream and avocado maybe. But that is not giving you a healthy nutrition. So you need what? Supplementation to bridge that gap so that your body cells can work in its best capacity. Next slide. Why Neutralite? Neutralite is the only company in the world which actually has the USDA certified organic products, supplements grown and harvested on their own certified organic farms, from the seed to the supplement. And this company has been around for over 100 years. And I love their product because it is basically not processed. It's basically something that is coming from the seed to the supplement directly. So let's talk about another aspect of our, how to start your journey towards a healthy heart and a healthy lifestyle. It starts from gut health. We call it the, detoxifying your body. So first of all, you remove the toxins, remove, replace, rebalance, and reset. These are the 4 important steps. And for detox, these are some of the products that I will talk about briefly. Fiber, balance within probiotic, and the liver support. These are some products that can help you, first of all, detox and reset. That's a first essential step to a optimal heart healthy lifestyle. Now, the next step, the top 5 nutrients for heart health. And remember, I was talking about the physical component, the mechanical component of the heart, that it has to pump the blood, and also the electrical impulse. Did you know the heart muscle, even if it is disconnected from the body, can still pump? It is the only muscle in the body that can actually pump even after it is disconnected, because it has its own electrical supply. And that is very unique muscle. So which is why it needs that cardiac nutrition. And cardiac nutrition is very different from the nutrition that you are just putting in your rest of your body by eating food every day. Cardiac nutrition includes these 5 essential supplementation. Number 1, vitamin D. Vitamin D is clinically proven, and D3, and Neutralite D3 comes with a vitamin called vitamin K2, which helps in absorption of vitamin D3 in the body. I live in the state of Florida. Do I get exposure to sun? Sure. But do I have the time to stand in the sun for 20 minutes every day? No, not really. I get exposure to maybe 10 minutes of sun, but I do need an exposure for at least 20 or 30 minutes. And that is all not sufficient, by the way, even if you're living in Sunshine State or you're maybe living in Canada. You still need vitamin D3 for healthy bones, joints, your heart health, gut health, your respiratory, the lungs. So all of that, vitamin D. Number 2, omega is important for circulation, joint health, cholesterol health. Neutralite cholesterol health is very unique because its components are made from green tea extracts, garlic heart care, that helps in, again, it has a component called allicin, and that helps in basically circulation of blood, and also very powerful antioxidant. If I were to go and consume, 10 cloves of garlic, I'll be, first of all, smelling very bad. And second, I will not feel good. And secondly, I don't have to go and do that. I can get it pre-made in a supplement form. Very critical supplement, the fifth one I'm talking here, is coenzyme Q10. This is not the CoQ10 that you pick up from Costco or from Walmart. That is basically you get 1,000 gels for $10. No, this is basically a very pure supplement, CoQ10, and it actually has been clinically tested, neutralized CoQ10, to actually prevent plaque formation, which is why a combination of these five work together to give adequate, optimal cardiac nutrition. For convenience sakes, I love the aspect of having the AM and the PM pack. All I have to do with my breakfast, have my Heart Health AM pack, my Perfect pack, which has the multivitamins, multiminerals, the plant concentrates, and that I can take in the AM, and the PM pack with my dinner. And why do you eat with the food? Because it helps in absorption, complete absorption in your body. So that is very important to remember. Next. Now, that's it. It's basically, I'm at the end of the slide here. At the end of the presentation, we have an opportunity for you to learn about the Heart Health Tracker. If you want to make the best use of your time that you're putting in today and help many other people, right? First of all, you get educated. And secondly, do complete that Heart Health Tracker. And the person who's invited you, please, regardless of whether you are a partner in our team or not, or you're a guest attending this for the first time, please complete that Heart Health Tracker, okay? And over back to Nanda. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shobhit Madan. I was muted for a second here. That was very insightful. My takeaway was you weaved in a bunch of times, how you said a lot of things are preventable if you recognize, how you can prevent it. So thank you for insightful presentation, and we'll accept your challenge. And we're going to present the health tracker, Heart Health Tracker, to those who are interested. Now, it's really my pleasure to bring up my partner all the way from California, and he's helping a lot of people get healthy. And it's my pleasure for me to bring him up. Let's bring up Saurabh Desai. He's an electrical engineer by background. He also has a master's in computer science. He excelled with a lot of prestigious awards, and he's got many years in the software industry. But beyond his tech career, he's a wellness entrepreneur advocating a holistic approach to health. Tonight, he'll share insights bridging technology and well-being. So let's give him a warm welcome. I know we can't do any, applause here that he could hear, but we know that, from our heart, we're welcoming him. So let's welcome Saurabh Desai.
All right. Thank you, Nanda. Hi, everyone. My name is Saurabh Desai from San Diego, California. Nanda gave up my profile. That was an incredible presentation by Dr. Shobhit. I learned so many things from there. And I want to piggyback a little bit on to, what I did to help somebody. As a matter of fact, just a few short months ago, happened to meet a gentleman, and I'm going to show his numbers in a minute. And, he was struggling. He just recently started a graveyard shift working, and he was struggling with his energy levels, struggling with his weight, and overall his health was not the most optimal one, and he needed some help. And I decided to work with him on his health journey, and I will talk to you about before and after his numbers right here. So if I can go to the next slide, please. All right, now, this is the before when I met him. At the time I met him, this was his numbers in the red. And just in a few short 4 to 5 months, I helped him get to the numbers on the right. Now, if I were to ask you to guess his height, you might say 6+, 6'2", 6'3", or whatever. This person is 5'8". Imagine that. Now, if you look at the BMI chart and everything, this person was actually way more than obese. And that was a scary thing. And you know what? What I did is that like Dr. Shobhit mentioned, I gave a holistic approach. I used to think that having a good diet and an exercise that's all you need to have a weight loss and you're healthy forever. But then I realized that there is a lot of other parameters, like 5 pillars of success that Dr. Shobhit talked about. And I gave you a holistic approach to his health journey. And let's get started with the next one, please. Next slide. Okay, so first one is like Dr. Shobit talked about is nutrition, right? That's number one. Go from a man-made processed foods to the nature-made foods, right? Which is a given. So you want to be careful about what you eat. Next slide, please. Supplements, and again, this is the same slide that and I take it, and he started taking it, and he saw the energy levels. And one thing I realized, sorry, the previous one, I realized is that he started seeing the levels in energy go up along with his weight loss, and that is when he saw that he realizes that supplement is really working for him. So next slide, please. Now, this is a very important one. Everybody is now, Dr. Shobi talked about the 150 minutes of a week of walking, moderate intensity. You want to walk half an hour. That's the least, it's like a minimum wage, right? You want to do that. But one thing that he mentioned, and I that's what I do for myself, and I help this person do that as well, is you want to make sure you have your heart pump faster. Now, how do you do that? You want to add some intensity to it, right? And that is the way. It's just like a car, right? You want to make sure that you're running it, you are giving it a continuous run. So you want to have maybe some kind of a sprint walk or lift heavy things. Now, you want to be careful. You don't want to go overboard with where you can hurt your muscles, but you want to be careful. You want to lift some heavy things where your heart's pumping faster, build some muscles there, move frequently, bicycling. You want to be active, right? And you want to make sure your heart is pumping faster. The next slide, please. Now, here's the thing though. Stress is a huge part of it. If you have a good diet and a good exercise, does it mean that you're healthy? No. Stress is a huge thing that takes a toll on your health. And you want to maybe involve into meditation. If you're doing meditation, maybe keep it up. But if you're not doing it, start somewhere. Laughter is the best medicine. I can tell you, when you laugh, your body is going to realize that. It's going to create a positive energy, and that's going to result into optimal performance for you and a mind and everything, right? And support your community. This was huge. And I remember when he told me that he had started to lose some weight, and then he gained it back. And I'm sure if I were to ask people, take a poll, almost every single person on this call has done it some point of time. You lose weight, you get it back, lose weight, get it back. But that's when you realize the power of community, right? It's very important. Next slide, please. Sleep is huge, right? That is very important. Like Dr. Shobit talked about, you want to aim for about 7+ hours, 7 to 9 hours of sleep, continuous sleep. It's very important. And you want to have some regularity, which means that you want to go to the bed early, and then you want to wake up at the same time. Accountability is huge. And that is one thing that we offer, right? I provided the accountability to this person right here. And then that's when he really took it one notch up. And then I know he's accountable to me. I'm accountable to him. So with that, make use of the team power that we have right here. And thank you. And over to Nanda.
Thank you, Saurav. That's awesome. We need such success stories, and that's not the only one. We literally have, hundreds of them across our team. So if you're interested, get back to the person who invited you here to begin your health journey. So where do you start? Well, it starts with honesty. Where are you right now? How healthy are you? Either you're getting healthy or you're not getting healthy. There's no status quo. So there's an illness-wellness continuum. When I started my journey, I was probably a 4 or a 5, and I didn't even know about it. And right now, I would say I'm a 7 or an 8, and I want to get towards 10. So the first thing is you want to learn where you are, so that you can begin your journey earnestly. What's your attitude towards your body? That really brings in a lot of your decision-making, initiative, energy, enthusiasm to take care of your health. I treat my body as my life partner. It's the only place you can live. So you really want to take care of it. Now think about what has really happened, over the years. What has really caused this? It's not willpower. It's more in biology, what has happened to all of us. It's the vegetable oils, the sugars, the refined carbs, the processed foods has really caused the nutrition deficiencies and toxicity. I already talked to you about that. It happened in the last 50 years. When you go shopping, you have to be aware what's really causing disease, what's, helping you get healthy. There's so many diets. There are a lot of people belong to different tribes of, diets, keto, this or that. But I'll tell you one thing, and I've become a nutrivore. Some people say I'm a carnivore, herbivore. Well, I'm a nutrivore. When I eat, I'm paying attention to, what kind of nutrients is going into my body. And if I'm not getting them, I'm supplementing them. And when it's especially happens when I'm traveling, or I'm standing in a buffet line, or I'm at a friend's house. I know that I may not get all the things that I need for my body. So that's why supplementation at the end of the day, comes to your rescue. There are 5 most important things that, in a healthy diet components. Wholesome food, omega-3s. They say that, fish, right, have omega-3. Fish really don't make omega-3. They eat algae, which makes omega-3, and they eat. So imagine if you're eating a farm-raised salmon, that doesn't contain the same omega-3 as a wild-caught salmon. So a lot of marketing, we fall into this trap. Oh, I'm eating fish, so I might be getting enough omega-3s. You're really not. Okay, and people consume a lot more salt than potassium. So you want to pay attention to that. Where do you get potassium from? Fruits and vegetables. You need adequate amount of fiber, at least 40 grams a day. And one big thing that I pay attention to is antioxidants. Oxygen is good, but oxygen is also not good. Think about rusting of iron, right? And your cells are also rusting. And how do you reverse the free radical damage? You need to eat antioxidant-rich foods. How do you know what nutrition is right for you? What supplementation is required for you? Each one of us are different. Our needs are different. So check back with the person who invited you here. We have a nutrition recommender that will kind of help you, identify them. I am much better today. I'm much healthier, happier, because I belong to a community. And I really believed in this statement. I was a recluse. I was an introvert. I didn't really need anybody. Maybe I'm just getting older. My kids are getting older. I just feel that you need to be around people. It's the power of community to create health is far greater than any physician, clinic, or hospital. A community puts being in the human. We start actually being human beings when we're around other people. We have some sense of purpose. So I want to have a pledge here. Maybe you can murmur it, speak it loud. I'm going to say it loud. I will monitor and maintain my blood pressure, sugar levels, ideal weight, and cholesterol within optimal levels. Remember the cholesterol, the one that Dr. Shobhit Madan mentioned? The markers are, slightly different what new research has shown, triglyceride or HDL. So cholesterol is like a broader term here, but you pledge doing that. The second pledge you will make is I commit to reducing or eliminating processed foods and seed oils from my diet. If there's anything that's worse than sugar, that's seed oils. All the things that they call it as vegetable oils. You can look more into it. I'll reduce or eliminate sugary drinks from my daily consumption. Empty calories. Eliminate calorie dense, food that's not helping you at all. Okay. I promise to dedicate time to engage in moderate to intense physical activity for a minimum of 150 minutes each week. I'll remain tobacco free, or if I currently smoke, I'll choose a quit date and commit to quitting smoking. I'll limit my alcohol intake to none or on very occasional occasions. I'll actively encourage others to prioritize and take care of their health. Good health is contagious. Bad health is also contagious. Bad habits are contagious. Good habits are contagious. Once you change yourself, you become a health enthusiast. You become a, influencer. The next step is becoming a health influencer. The third thing is, if you choose to be, it could be a profession for you. You could be a wellness entrepreneur like we have chosen to be. I'll share this valuable information with at least 2 other people and inspire them to become healthy. Together, through these actions, we strive to empower communities for improved health outcomes. I want to give a big shout out to one of our gurus of this community, Dr. Sharma back in India. And he taught us this about empowering communities for improved health outcomes. It's not about you just getting healthy, but also helping other people become healthy. At this point, I would like to offer those of you here who are interested to continue this journey, meet with the wellness coach who's invited you here, scan this QR code, fill out I think there are 4 or 5 questions there. For those of you fill out, you will get 30-minute consultation with a wellness coach. You'll get a companion guide. All the things that we talked about here will be in an ebook format that will be emailed to you by the person who invited you here. But you're going to get a heart health tracker. And now I'll tell you why this is very important to me and to you. My background is Asian Indian, South Asian, of Indian ethnicity. My genes are predisposed to heart disease and diabetes. I didn't even know it. So the markers that you look at for you, for me, which is for my heart disease, for my heart health, are slightly different. Even if they're the same markers, but my optimal range is different. So we have mentioned all of that, what the optimal ranges are. We've done this with a lot of research. It's going to help you, put down a value right now, your current value. And after 90 days, by working with the person who invited you here, you can write down your new numbers, improved numbers. Okay, so this is very valuable. And for those of you who are interested, obviously, we don't want to hand it out to everybody who's here. But those of you who are interested, you can scan that. If you can't scan it, for example, if you're watching this webinar on a phone, we have a link in the chat. You can click on that and you can fill that form. If you, for some reason, you're not able to get to that link, ask the person who invited you here how you can get access to that link. We'll send it out to you. Okay. Well, what do you do next? Well, you got the information. Like I already told you, knowledge is overrated. You can do ChatGPT, give me all the steps I need to be heart healthy. You'll get that. But you know what? You need that expert advice. You need that wisdom. And we welcome you to join our 90-day Optimal Health Challenge to transform your life. It does take 90 days. Believe it or not, in 90 days, you can see marked improvement if you just make that decision, a quality decision. Okay. What do you do next? Set up a follow-up meeting. Just don't drop the ball here. Yes, you got the information, but what do you do? This follow-up meeting is vital. This is where you get your questions answered. There are a lot of things. I'm sorry that we could not open up for questions at this time. I want to keep it short and sweet. But if you have any questions, that's the time for you to ask the person who invited you here. We're going to offer you a way to complete a wellness assessment. Okay. Check on the symptoms that you might be having right now. But if you're already under medical care, under a doctor's care, and you're taking medications, we may not be able to help you as much, but we can definitely guide you, in the right direction with your physician's help. Okay. You got to meet with a wellness coach. Make time. It could be an online call, in-person call, but let that happen. Okay. Quickly in the next few days, within a week. We have holidays coming up. Thanksgiving is a holiday. Then we got Christmas, New Year's. This is when you really do a lot of damage to your body. Okay. And this is when you really have to become more aware. And I've become a biohacker. I know how to read labels. And if I go out to eat somewhere, and if I'm not getting enough omegas, I take more omegas. So a lot of things that we can teach you how to navigate these tough times. I want to call it tough times because it's not tough time for you, but it's tough time for your body. And I want to remind you that any food that you eat, eating is a stressful event for your body. Did you know that? Because it has to figure out a lot of things. So meet with a wellness coach before the holidays begin so you are empowered and educated to navigate and come out successfully. Not just do a New Year resolution to be healthy, but you actually are equipped with information and tools that you need to be healthier. And I encourage you to begin your optimal health journey because you know what? We all tell our friends, family, that we love you. And you know, the biggest thing that's on the back of my mind is not only living well, but dying well. What does that mean? Yeah, you can live long, but what if you die long, 20, 30 years, and become a burden to your family? And I don't have any right to be a burden to my family, physically or financially or mentally, be a burden. And that's the reason you want to be healthy, not only just healthy, but optimally healthy. So it was really exciting to be here and to share the stage with Dr. Shobit Madan and Saurabh Desai. I hope it benefited you. I hope it was worthwhile for you to come here and attend this heart health seminar. With that, back to you, John.
Wow. Wow. Let's give a round of applause for the amazing speakers, Nanda, Dr. Shobit, and Saurabh. I mean, I took down so many notes. I don't know about you, but 3 main points that I took away was create a healthy lifestyle. It's all about the habits that you create. Get moving, get active, do something. 150 minutes a week. I know I'm definitely going to take that pledge. And supplementation. There's only so much that you can do by eating right and moving. You need to fill in those nutrient gaps, which I think they all covered very, very well. And let's take a pledge to take that action now, especially with the holidays coming up. So with that, I mean, you guys covered everything perfectly. So like they said, get back with the person who's invited you if you have any more specific questions. I know the link was in the chat as far as filling out that tracker and everything like that, so you can have a consultation call with one of our wellness coaches. So highly recommend to fill that out from the person who's invited you. If you didn't get that, maybe we can put it back in the chat. If not, it will be sent back. Yep, there it is. It'll be sent to you directly. And yeah, other than that, the last thing I want to mention is that because of this health and wellness community, we're going to be having monthly webinars to discuss different aspects of health and wellness. So I do want to let you guys know that the next webinar is going to be next month. If it pops up on the screen with us, here we go. So this will be sent to you, but we're going to be having another wellness weight management webinar in early December. So again, for all of us who are going to make that commitment for our New Year's resolution to lose weight, we can start that party early, about a month early, and get the ball rolling. So you will get more information and details on that as we get closer to that date. But again, I want to thank Nanda, Shobit, and Saurabh for that amazing presentation. And with that, I hope that all of you guys have a great rest of your night. And like they said, let's start taking that action tonight and tomorrow so that we can live a long and healthy lifestyle. With that, have a great rest of your night, everybody. And that ends this webinar. Thank you, guys.